Okay, guys, you know what that sound is. It's time for 420 with Trè. And I am super excited because I've got my little sister joining me on the show today, Miss Amy Rosslind. And let's go and see her reel, and then we'll get into chatting to her. Welcome to 420 with Trè.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you here, sister.
Thank you, Chomi.
Let's light up.
Let's. Certainly not the first time.
Certainly not the first time. Talking about the first time. When was the first time you smoked? I actually don't know when's the first time you smoked. Just in case mommy and daddy watches, I don't know about you must say our real age.
No, look, I don't think I should say it. Especially for
Yeah.
the young fans out there watching me. Especially because I got kids now, whatever. But, sorry, touch the mic there. I know it was very young. And it was definitely like finding daddy's stash.
Yo, you suma call out daddy on the E.
Wipe that from the record. But yeah, you already know.
No, but for me, I must admit, I was also a bit of a youngin'. It was my first kiss was my Jade. Before I kissed a human, I kissed a spliff.
Wow.
Yeah. Mary Jane been in my life for long.
Actually,
but just
same.
remember, I was a week away from my sweet 16, never been kissed. Yeah, I gave the game away also. But yeah, you were young.
16.
Just before, I got my first kiss a week before I turned 16.
Hi, Chomi.
What?
Okay. Are you saying that for camera? Or?
No, for real.
Okay. Sure. No, sure. 16.
Okay, who do you recall me?
I don't know, but also when I said young, I mean...
No. You and me are two very different people, eh?
Truth.
Facts.
She's preaching.
So no. So Amy, tell me, how has cannabis affected you and your life path? Like, how does it help you with your creativity?
Well, I mean, I'm going to try and answer that question holistically because I have to say there's levels to this shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like on a personal, more molecular level, I can definitely say that cannabis has really helped me manage certain situations because I struggle with anxiety. It's no stranger. I'm no stranger to that world, and anyone who knows me personally knows that anxiety is something I really, really, really struggle with. So it's been a mood stabilizer. It's been, I don't know, like a safety blanket, I would say, in a personal, very personal space. As a creative, it's funny. I wouldn't say one needs it in order to unlock creativity.
I think
because
that's an important statement to
because
make.
It's already in there.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
100%.
You know. But I do feel if I ever need to just really unpack something, whether it's a concept for a client or a piece of choreography or anything really, if I need to unpack it, it slaps different when you smoke a blunt and you just get into it. So I feel like maybe it allows
can you remember when we took that show to the Grahamstown Festival?
a new perspective. Yes.
And that mofo was holistically created in the bathroom with bongs.
But that's it. But that's it. That's what I'm saying. Like the complete, or rather the start of that creative process was literally just us like smoking bongs and chatting about not only what we thought this piece of work could be and how far it could go, but like the impact it would make.
But also because it was so strongly tied to our own stories.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like the cannabis also gave us the confidence to put ourselves out there in that way. Because it's not always easy to show your vulnerability, especially in today's society, where people are so opinionated in absolutely everything that has to do with everybody else, that I feel like now to make a mistake, it's almost like it's 20,000 times more compounded. That's why I still say I'm very grateful that I wasn't born in the age of social media. I mean, can you imagine me and you in high school, our parties?
I can't imagine it.
We'd be in jail.
Bro, Mark Zuckerberg would not, he'd be like, no. He'd be like, shut this whole shit down. Remove Instagram.
But you understand, but now we're at a place where, I mean, people are filming themselves doing the wildest things, you know? They're not worried about the law no more.
But I suppose it's always like a double-edged sword, really, in that way. You know?
No, definitely, because with it did also come this innate understanding that we're all actually suffering. And we're all actually going through the most, and we're all actually going through things.
Yeah.
And that's also why I've got the issue with this, like, the self-love culture.
Ooh.
As it stands on social media.
Yeah.
Because it isn't about loving yourself in solid, in a solo spot, or loving yourself without the consideration of the people around you. Because no man's an island, and everybody around you is also going through things. So sometimes we don't even hear what people are saying, you know, with the best intentions, because we all have so much inner healing work that we do need to do. So I do feel like we need to be more, we need to go back to that Ubuntu and that like camaraderie, that you can truly stand with somebody and you know that you're going to pick up that phone and you're going to phone that person. They're going to be there without fail, without consequence, without judgment, without the feeling of, oh, it's going to be on a post or it's going to be fodder or clout the next day. And I feel like maybe we're lonely, and that's why we like the self-love thing. I don't know. I just feel like self-love isn't meant to be selfish.
Bars.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, you know. Definitely to be treated with care, because, I mean, it's very important, the whole self-love topic. I think definitely not in a way where you kind of stepping on someone else's emotions.
No, 100%.
Just to aid your own.
Your healing shouldn't come at the detriment of somebody else. You shouldn't be unraveling somebody while trying to tie your ends, you know? So I just feel like that's really, really important. And so now, Ames, you now the traveler here. You've done the most traveling. So let's talk about your countries, man, because you did go with mommy to Amsterdam, because my sister was the first African face of Nike. Yes, she was. I'm just going to brag there for a bit. So she did have to go to Amsterdam, and my mommy went with her. So did you get mommy to smoke? My mommy is not. My mommy calls it tacha, and she pronounces it all 4 G's.
How can you ask me that? Like, first of all, I'm gonna have to say no.
I'm going to have to say no.
Are you crazy, dude?
You called out daddy, but you don't want to call out mommy. At
Yeah,
least
but
we know who's
mommy's
your
on
favorite.
Instagram. That's like a different playing field altogether. She's like the original social media detective. She's gonna find this episode before it drops. Just wait. Just you wait. She's gonna send you little like, oh, do you like this? I love this. Keep this. We're going to be like, where were you this whole time?
Oh,
you know, she's crazy.
You're very funny. Okay, so what's your favorite strain? Indoor, outdoor?
Indoor.
Really?
Well, I mean, it depends on the situation.
But indoor's gonna be your one. I don't know, man. I will always say I'm an all-rounder. But the older I'm getting, the more I'm liking an indoor. I must admit.
Yes, because my goodness, sometimes
different strains do affect you differently.
Yes.
And I'm really excited to get to the point where I can just be like, you know what? I need to get me an Ames strain because I'm feeling a little anxiety ridden today, and I want to get me a Trè strain today because I'm feeling my depression setting on. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's what I want. That's essentially what I want.
Yeah, no, for sure, definitely.
And I want our community and our people to like get on that bandwagon also, you know, to be like, South Africa must be this like fucking frontier. That's what my goal at the end of the day. I really want to have like, you know, like a wine farm, but like a cannabis farm where you can like come and you can like sit amongst the buds and like test the different the different things that's growing on the vine, you know. That's especially because I don't drink wine. So I feel like every time, like all my friends, you love your wine, you love getting a wine tasting, you know, raw. I also want to be raw, but I don't drink wine. You know what I'm saying?
Love a bit of wine, innit?
You do.
But I mean, I hear you. I like that. That sounds amazing.
What would you like to do in the industry? Like, what would your dream specs be of what you'd want to do?
Honestly, I think I just wish that the entire, like the plant and everything that it comes with needs to be integrated into mainstream industry.
Okay.
You know, because I feel like it'll do seriously, it'll make
serious good.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it'll make impactful change, you know what I mean?
Positive, impactful change.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
And I also feel like there's so much good
Yeah.
that is possible. And there's so much
And is it-
camaraderie that cannabis brings. You know what I'm
100%,
saying?
100%.
Like if there's one thing about somebody that like cannabis people don't mind like sharing. Like the whole premise is puff, puff, pass. And like that's what I want our industry to be. It's like passing on knowledge,
Yeah.
passing on opportunity, passing on fucking magic and positivity, and not like getting away from the crabs in a bucket mentality, where we can finally grow together. And I think this, here it is.
Whoa.
Here is where we get to grow together and learn together and actually create an entire new environment for us to bloom in. And I'm ready for it, you know. But that's what I'm saying. And I mean, if I must think, we haven't had the easiest life.
Valid.
We've gone through some pretty rough experiences and pretty rough moments. And I do feel like I won't say I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for cannabis. But I can say it has kept me from making silly decisions and given me maybe a minute to pause. And sometimes
moment
that's
of
all you need.
stillness.
That's all you need. Sometimes you just need that 5-minute smoke break. And it might not even necessarily be that THC or that cannabinoids or all that things working through your blood, but just that moment you've taken for yourself, that rolling, that cutting, that tangibly feeling, that like me, like I'll rack my bong and then I'll swirl my water like through which styles, you know me, I'll be like positive in, negative out, manifestations of everything I'm wanting, and as I'm breathing in my cannabis, I'm like self-love and self-awareness and, you know, all of those things. So I do feel like there's power in it and we just understanding its power. And I want us as Africans not to embrace that power in a European way. Because it's the Europeans that have sort of began that legalization, decriminalization process. And I don't want us to copy them to the point that we lose our Africanism and we lose the mother plant, man. And I feel like it's the same like I always used to tell you about like styling or like how our magazines look, or how back in the it was too Australian or it was too European. It didn't give me a South African aesthetic. It didn't make me feel like holy moly. Doesn't matter what race that person is, I can see that that is a South African aesthetic, a South African design. And I feel like I want that for at least cannabis. I want people to be like, Durban poison. You know, the best shit ever. That's what I want. I want us to have, like, I want us to be that pioneers. And even though we're behind with regards to the legalities and da-da-da-da-da-da, I do feel by our government allowing our people to grow as the offset, it actually spearheaded us ahead of everybody else, because it gave the common man the ability to heal himself first before we worried about the rands and the cents. And I think that is important. You know what I'm saying? You've been very quiet, girl. I gave you good weed now. I get Tracy got that yummy.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm pretty high. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie
For real.
about it. Pretty stoned.
Pretty stoned. So, in area, we had a convo. Urban poison. The best shit ever. That's what I want. I want us to have, like, I want us to be that pioneers. And even though we behind with regards to the legalities and da, I do feel by our government allowing our people to grow as the offset, it actually spearheaded us ahead of everybody else because it gave the common man the ability to heal himself first before we worried about the rands and the cents. And I think that is important. You know what I'm saying? You've been very quiet, girl. I gave you good weed now. I got Tracy got that yummy. Wow.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm pretty high. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie
For real.
about it. Pretty stoned.
So, in area, we had a convo last night.
Yes.
So, I think you can give us a shout out, yeah, man. So, what area in Cape Town are you like amped on the weed?
You know, I have to say, Cape Town, though, in general,
Yes.
we smoke good out here.
Ooh, yes, we do.
Oof.
Yes, we do.
We
I
smoke
appreciate
good
it.
out here.
I'll never take it for
No, we
granted.
smoke good out here, but I will say at the moment, like, guys,
That's soil and sun, man.
that's soil and sun,
That's soil and sun.
you know? Something about the water.
Something about the water.
Something about that water.
Do you know what I'm saying? All of those roots from back in the day,
Yeah.
and the people that used to supply here from back in the day, we can't forget. We can't just be like, okay, cool, now everybody that's popping up with a cute little cannabis brand, yes, great. We need the business. We need to
Yes.
stimulate the economy.
100%.
But again, we can't forget that this plant is also rooted in a lot of people's culture, religions, and just daily life. And so I want us, while South Africa moves forward in an economic sense, I want us to be fully grounded in the social responsibility and the knowledge of our cannabis forefathers.
100%. I mean, when you ask the question, like, what I'd like to see, that's definitely another thing I would say I'd like to see, which is educating our people,
No, yes.
like hugely and intensely and with purpose and going into our communities and educating our people,
No, definitely. But I also want our top ranking people, our government officials, our mothers that everybody looks up to, that smokes, to say that they smoke. Because it's the only way we're going to change the stigma behind things. Like, Amy, come now. We know, like, everybody smokes.
I mean, I'm not saying everybody.
I'm not saying everybody.
I'm not saying everybody
smokes.
We're just
but
saying
like
everybody
in a
I
percentile,
personally
it's more
like.
here to the majority than the minority.
In my personal sphere,
Yeah, we're talking
reference,
obviously in our sphere. We can't talk about everybody.
I just feel like most of the people that I know.
But I'm talking about in all facets of life, whether they're doctors, whether they're professors,
absolutely.
whether they're in government,
Yes,
whether they are
hugely successful, driven
100%
family people.
And to be honest, that is what made me understand that this wasn't a hindrance in my future or in my possibilities.
Yes. I mean, we personally grew up in a family where
No, yeah,
like,
exactly.
everyone except mom.
Except mom. Because that's taha. Although, let me say, when the announcement was made on TV that the decriminalization was happening, mommy shouted from the other room, Tracy! Taha's legal!
Whoa.
I kid you not. And I was very proud of her because it was illegal in her mind. That is what made it a negative. But we all know that just because something is in the law and makes it legal doesn't always make it right. Apartheid proved that. I think we can't deny that. So I do feel like it's with the freeing of the plant legally, almost 100%, we're getting there. We also have to free ourselves and the stigma attached to it as well.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean? So, to end off, to close and wrap things up, Tell me where you are in your life now, girl. What you're doing. Where you going.
Well, you know what? I'll be honest, because I feel like that's key to where I'm at right now. I'm in a deep sense of gratitude at the moment, which requires pause. And I'm in incubation with a lot of, creative things that will happen in due time, like performance is so, it's like a sacred space for me,
I mean, for you, it's always been a healing space as well. When shit pops off, then Amy's on the dance floor.
So I think it's going to be
mental break, dance session in 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, I just want to touch on before we leave this incubation process.
Yes.
This metamorphosis, if you will, because I'm currently experiencing the same thing. Like even this podcast with Berry Productions, Steve and Mary sitting there making their magic behind the camera. I literally came for an audition for something else that they were working on, and I was like, guys, I'd love to do a podcast, and they were like, well, let's try, let's do this thing, and here we are sitting. And I've been wanting to do this podcast for the last 3 years. But we also know it's been a really hellish 3 years for us. We had the house fire. We've had many losses, many things that have gone down. And I think the one thing all this loss has taught me, right, is that you really only need your positive spirit. Because I had nothing. Like, I didn't have a panty, girl. Fire be taking it all. You know what I'm saying?
Fire's a deep one.
Fire's a deep one.
Fire's an underrated one.
And it's actually
like no one can prepare you for that.
You can't. And it actually, it's a resurfacing trauma because it comes back all the time. It's like you'll smell something, or you'll be like, oh, look at that throwback picture. I don't have that top that I saved since I was 16, because it's gone.
No, I know. It's like you get emotional over the weirdest things.
And also, Amy, check, we've always given back, or I give back, and then, I always to myself is to be like, it's fine. Like, if I get into a coma, then the people's gonna be like, Tracy, Robbie, thank you. And when the fire happened, and there was just silence, and there wasn't a outpouring of anything. And I had to genuinely stand in myself on my own. I realized so many things that I would never have if I hadn't gone through that. Because I never understood balance and all of those sorts of things until now. So, I'm happy that we're in this space.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me on the show today. I hope all of the guests that are watching and that have watched today understand that it's okay to pause and have a moment.
100%. Smoke a spliff in that moment.
Yeah, exactly. And just be chill and understand that everything will be okay. Life is definitely a marathon and not a race. And you'll win some and you'll lose some. But at the end of the day, you'll be exactly where you need to be to cross that line. Thanks for joining us, guys. See you next Thursday at 4:20.